Hi, this is Holden at Acceleration Car Racing, and today I wanted to do an introduction on wheel hubs. Wheel hubs are a question we get asked about whenever you're looking to change your setup or replace a hub that you may have damaged out there on the track. Maybe you hit a barrier, maybe you snapped a wheel stud, maybe you're not liking the way your kart is handling and you need some advice and tips to make sure you're getting a good replacement wheel hub. We stock quite a few different hubs here at Acceleration. We have some from aftermarket companies like Swift. We also carry some from Wildcart, PKT. We also have OEMs from CRG, Tony Kart or OTK, and Freeline, which do Burrell, Ricardo, Leclerc, and other brands as well. One of the most popular questions we get asked is, what hub pattern do I need? Hub pattern is important. There's several different hub patterns available on the market depending on what type of wheel you have. And I have two for an example up here. We have a European bolt pattern that we refer to as a 358 bolt pattern. And right here is a different pattern. This is from CRG, which they call a 3/67. It's important to know this measurement, as not every hub you purchase or what wheel you're running on that hub measure the exact same. The easiest way to take this measurement is not to take a pair of calipers or a ruler or tape measure and measure from one stud to the next stud. You won't get an even measurement and it won't line up to what the standard is in racing, which they call a PCD measurement. How you would do that is you can take a piece of paper, take your hub that you have, flip it upside down, trace a line around each one of these studs until you have 3 circles. Once you have that, what you're going to want to do is draw a single circle using a compass or something of the sort, and you're going to want to draw a single circle that crosses the center of all 3 studs, and you'll take the diameter of that circle in millimeters more often than not, take that measurement, and that's going to be your bolt pattern. In the case of this PKT hub right here, if we did this measurement here, this is going to be a 58 millimeter circle. So it's a 3 bolt 58 millimeter, which is how we get a 3/58. So there are going to be some brands out there that use different hub patterns that are unique to their brand. For CIK karting, which is any of the European karting we're familiar with, like Tony Kart, CRG, Techno, Kart Republic, Praga, you name it, they're going to be using CIK sizes, which have 358, 367, 369, and also 366. Here in the States, most people are usually using just 358, but some brands like CRG or any of their sub-brands use 367 more often than not. Some American karts as well, often used in like dirt oval racing, will have a different pattern, and those are usually going to be what we call the American bolt pattern, or 3 on 2.5 inch diameter circle, measured the same way, but instead in inches. We don't carry any hubs for those. We focus mostly on the 358 pattern, and we have some hubs that fit the CRGs as well. Now we have that out of the way, next thing you're going to need to know is the length of the hub. This is important. Later on, we'll touch base with more technical details about why you'd go with a shorter or a longer hub. But simply, all you want to do is measure the length of the hub from the back face to the front face where the wheel meets up the hub. Some hubs, like this hub from Freeline, for example, have a centering ring on the inside. And you usually will not measure the centering ring when measuring the length of the hub. Simply, all you'll do is take the measure in the back of the hub up to the hub face here. In this case, this is about 75 millimeters, give or take, from there. So this would be a 75 millimeter hub, and that's how you get the length. Last thing you need to know about whether you're measuring for a rear axle or a front stub axle is the diameter of the hub. The diameter, again, you're going to measure the distance across from which the axle is. You can take the outside diameter of the axle or the stub axle you're mounting, or take the inside diameter of the hub that you're measuring, or if you have a bearing, you do it on the inner hole of the bearing. In this case, this Freeline hub here is a 40 millimeter hub. which you can also do with a pair of calipers as well. The number is upside down, but you see it's 39.856. It's increasing, but that's a 40 millimeter hub. It's important to get that right, otherwise you end up ordering the wrong hub. You won't be able to mount it on your cart successfully. You'll have big problems there. Common sizes you'll see for kart racing for the cadets and kid karts typically will be 25, mostly 30 millimeter. For most adult karts, you're talking 40 millimeters, especially on 4-stroke chassis, or older karts will often have a 40 millimeter. Some older karts, as well as a lot of the newer karts for full-size karts, are going to usually be 50 millimeters diameter instead. For stub axles or front spindles, as we also call them, you might get ones like this one. This one's from CRG. This is a 25 mil, and other ones on kid karts, you might get a 17 millimeter diameter instead of this larger 25 mil diameter. So it's important you note that as well when ordering a hub. Other than that, there's a lot of different lengths that you can order a hub at. And like I said, we'll touch base more into technicalities and stuff like that. But take note of the hub that you have in length. And if you're trying to match it, try to get the closest length hub or the exact length hub that you need. Something to also consider is the material of the hub. Most hubs in the sport are going to have some sort of magnesium alloy or some sort of made out of aluminum. Aluminum is a little bit heavier, magnesium is a little bit lighter, but more expensive. So there's a trade-off to be had there, depending on what your needs are. Other than that, there's a couple other accessories that you'll need to consider when purchasing hubs. If you're changing your setup at all, you might need some spacing rings to put on your stub axles. Just slide on, and you go to put your hub on here. This will just allow you to change the width of the front or the rear. In this case, this is going to be the front. So if you run a longer hub, just keep in mind that you might need to change your spacing arrangement as well to compensate if you're going for a particular measurement. The same thing can happen with rear axles if you're running spacers such as these Kartmaster. This is the 50 millimeter spacers they have. Come in a variety of different thicknesses, and you just shove these onto the inside of the hub here, slide that, and then that way you're creating a different bottoming out spot for the hub, so that way it can't slide in any further than how many spacers you have on the inside. Also, another thing to keep in mind is if you are running a shifter setup, sometimes shifters have a very unique hub configuration for their front. For example, we have this Tony Kart, or rather this is a Cosmic, but OTK brand hub here. And you can see they run a different style hub where it doesn't clamp down onto the spindle. There are spacers inside there, but you can see it's adjustable. So depending on how many spacers you put on the inside here, you can change the width of it accordingly. And in other cases, such as the CRG Road Rebel guys or KT4 or older shifter kart guys are very familiar with these hubs that run the Ven 05 or Ven 04 brakes or Ven 9. This hub here will simply just slide over the spindle and it will lock down there, and they'll just run a clamp-on style hub onto the front and adjust the width just as you would when you're adjusting a rear axle. Other brands may do very specific things as well on a shifter. So if you are ordering front hubs for a shifter, just be mindful of how the front brake hub setup is made, so that way you're not accidentally ordering, the wrong hub and won't be able to use it for your application. Other than that, if you have any questions about hubs and you'd like to get some more information, please give us a call. You can reach us at 702-740-5868, or you can shoot us an email to techsupport@accelerationkarting.com. We'd love to help answer any questions you may have.